Today's apologist claim: Christianity is a religion of love. Christianity claims to be a religion of love, much like Islam claims to be a religion of peace. They both point to passages in their scriptures that teach love and peace. But they avoid mentioning the many more passages that teach the exact opposite: hate, division, bigotry, violence, etc. Fortunately, most Christians and Muslims these days ignore the inconvenient passages, but those lessons still lie at the heart of their religions. For instance, the Bible teaches that people are saved by faith, not by works, and that our best efforts are nothing more than filthy rags. In fact, we are worthless sinners, and not a single person is good. This is the starting point of Christianity, teaching self-hate, to regard yourself as a worthless human being in desperate need of being saved because you are incapable of doing anything good on your own. Christianity needs you to believe this, because if you don't need saving, what's the point of becoming a Christian? And once you embrace this self-hate, it's easy to transfer it to everyone else. It starts with, we're sinners, but at least we're saved, which often leads to a tacit, we're better than you because we're saved and you're not, which is a divisive us versus them mentality. The Bible even offers passages to encourage demonizing and avoiding people who follow other religions and atheists who don't share that hatred. That divisiveness also leads to misogyny, encouraged by Bible passages teaching that women are inferior and subservient to men. The Bible also teaches that homosexuals are abominations who are so reviled they deserve to be put to death. Added to that are Bible passages that clearly justify slavery, with its inherent treatment of others as lesser, subservient beings. Pro-slavery Christians during the U.S. Civil War often used the Bible to justify slavery and racism against darker-skinned people. Furthermore, many Christians blame Jews for Jesus' death, and they have used that justification for perpetrating hatred against the Jewish people for millennia. Christians claim that God himself is love, but there's little justification for that belief based on his behavior in the Bible. As an all-knowing, all-powerful being, he knew exactly what would happen if you put Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden with the serpent and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Yet he did nothing to prevent it from happening. In fact, when Adam and Eve failed his test, as he knew they would, he banished them from paradise and arranged for them and all humanity thereafter to suffer and die. He even punishes children several generations removed from an ancestor who hated him. And although this same God claims to love us, he wants to be feared, and he will brutally torture people simply for not believing he exists, behavior that can only be seen as an act of hate, not love. All these passages have been used to teach Christians hate, division, and bigotry. But if that's not bad enough, the Bible also teaches not to love the world or anything in it, not just to not love some things in the world, but not to love anything in it. Of course, there are apologists who insist this doesn't mean what it says, and they instead claim that the world must refer to corrupt value systems or whatnot. But the Bible doesn't specify that at all. It's interesting how biblical literalists are so often the quickest to deny the literal meaning of Scripture. But deny they must, because the literal meaning in this case fits the undercurrent of divisive hate running throughout the Bible. And those apologists do the same thing with passages that show Jesus actually preaching hate, insisting that what he actually meant is that people should love him so much that their love for their families is hatred only by comparison. Apart from the fact that Jesus made no such qualifier, anyone who has truly loved a family member with all their heart knows that it's impossible to love much more than that. Certainly not so much more that the love for their family member is hate by comparison. Recognizing this, some apologists claim these passages are just hyperbole, exaggerations. But the problem with that claim is that hyperbole is used to strengthen claims, not to weaken them. Finally, many Christian churches teach that Judgment Day will soon be upon us and that God is going to destroy this world, so people shouldn't even try to improve it. Nothing really matters except for each person to get right with God. Ironically, this has caused many churches to ignore those passages where Jesus teaches Christians to love and care for the poor by giving them all their possessions. In fact, so many embrace those opposite lessons of the Bible, hatred, division, racism, etc., that they absolve themselves of all social responsibility toward the poor. They're more interested in making themselves wealthy and building walls to keep the poor out than they are in following the positive lessons of the Bible. Let me repeat that most Christians can't stomach the darker lessons of the Bible, and that they emphasize the love parts instead. But underlying all those lessons is hate, not love.